Then, of course, Ripcord's flirting with Scarlet. I don't know if this actually happened. I don't think it happened in the 80s. I don't know if it ever happened in any medium, much like Duke having anything to do with Countess. But yeah, I have no idea. I didn't care for it. It just had no meaning in this. Now there is a scene afterwards, after the attack, by Cobra, which is basically exactly what I said. They break it again using technodrome drills. They freaking kill the security, kill General Hawk's secretary, knock him out, use his eyeball him to open a vault, leave him for dead. He sets off an alarm. There's a big fight in the main I don't know, the main area. Lots of explosions, and then Cobra gets away with the warheads. So after this, because of her she had a battle with Baroness. Scarlet is basically mad herself because she blames herself for letting it go. Ripcord comes in, basically telling her, "Look, you did everything you could," and which that's fine. Honestly, I hate. He's basically supporting her, which is fine. I have no reason to frickin' get mad at. Maybe this would be part of the frickin' romance. Well, it is part of the romance subplot, which I don't like. But this scene, I don't entirely care, because this is just someone saying, "Look, you did the best you could," basically coming in and saying, "Oh, none of us could have asked more of you, and none of us could have done better than what you just did." Fine. So anyway, what happens after that? Okay, there's a fight between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Then Cobra goes to the Cobra's company and weaponizes the warheads. Okay, this scene I thought about, and I'd have let it play out exactly as it did, despite the fact now they weaponize it. She freaking kisses him, and Storm Shadow kills him because Destro said kill him. So yeah, whatever. God. Then the freaking car chase scene. The fucking car chase scene. They put Duke and Ripcord into two suits that make them faster, that increases their strength and durability. Now, Ripcord, because he's got to be the token and black guy in this thing, is just goofy as heck and falls over, ran over. It's like, really? Why? Why did he have to do that? Why couldn't he just, like Duke did? No, he had to be the comic relief. I know that's basically that. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I wish the guy was played a little bit. He was cocky and he went, but I don't know. I'm probably gonna cut that. So anyway, so they chase them, and the Joes are causing as much damage as Cobra. In fact, they start off causing less damage than Cobra was. and it's just a big mess. Like Cobra's heading to a spot to fire off one of the warheads, and hilarity ensues when they wreck the they end up wrecking Cobra's car, and um, yeah, they end up wrecking Cobra's car. Baroness and Storm Shadow get out, split up. Storm Shadow with one of the warheads and the bazooka. She runs off with the um, little trigger device. So they go their separate ways. Duke obviously goes after the Baroness because of course he does. Well, not the immediate threat. Ripcord goes after him. Ripcord's not able to stop him from doing. It's just barely a second too slow in finding him and having him set off the machine, firing the warhead off at the Eiffel Tower. Duke, meanwhile, is chasing Baroness up a building, and after nearly getting blasted off by a little pulse pistol, he's able to jump onto the airship that she's escaping in and shut off the nanomachines, saving most of Japan, Paris. So, after that, like I said, this isn't, like, I think the movie's longer than the chase scene, the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, some of the Joes get caught, and thrown in jail. Ripcord gets beaten up because he's the only one who's trying to. While the others are like complying, he's the one trying to tell them, "Hey, we just saved your city," and then, "Not comply." Hate to tell you that. So eventually, they get called back by their heads of state and told they're not none of them are allowed to come back to France. So right after that, okay, so they get caught by them. They eventually find out because Breaker is a the fucking Mary Sue in this movie. I should have had something to drink. He puts needles into one of the dead guys from the car to find out to get his memories on where, because apparently they can do that, on where he's been. Through that, they find out that they are located in the polar ice cap. Science. So they go there. They head there despite being called back, but as the general said, I didn't tell you when or what route to take. So they head up there. More hilarity ensues as they freaking shoot their way in. Duke turned on the tracking beacon again on the warheads, which, come to think of it, how is it that Breaker, in all his stupid knowledge, other than plot convenience here, didn't realize that the homing beacon was turned on? You'd have thought he'd have kind of picked that up, like, hey, why is this thing turned on? Might have been too late anyway, but one must wonder. Not to mention, we've already gone through about 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 different scripts that were bastardized already. Okay. So this is also where we find out Dr. Mindbender is actually Rex, who was Duke's best friend before, and the brother of the Baroness, which this is another thing that kind of feels like it was just shoved in there, because this should have been just Dr. Mindbender. I don't know. So this was another he's basically scarred up, looking like my Freddy Krueger MFer now, without the wig and the mask. And he apparently put nanomachines into his sister to make her do whatever he wanted. And it's really weird. So anyway. So now Duke knows about that, and he's about to put nanomachines into Duke, and it's all stupid. So yeah. So then we get into a Mexican standoff eventually, because the Joes have launched their attack. And this is where it gets really Star Warsy. Because you got a group of Joes, Scarlet, Breaker, and Snake Eyes, infiltrating the base. Then you have Breaker, not Breaker, Heavy Duty leading assault subs into an attack with the Cobra base. So you've got Return of the Jedi vibes with the infiltration group. Then you've got the Jedi, the New Hope vibes with them launching the Sharks, as they're calling this. Really weird. So it's convoluted. There's even a super weapon on this blasted thing, a pulse cannon. By the way, what's Ripcord doing? Because Ripcord was also with the infiltration group. Ripcord is now in a jet that can go Mach 6 apparently, chasing after two missiles with the warheads that were attached, because their plan was to fire the missiles at both Moscow and Washington, D.C. They did fire a third one, but it was blown up, so we never find out where the hell that was going. Because they love to do it Hong Kong. So you've got that. So you got all that. So he's after the other two missiles. He eventually blows up the one. He's able to shoot down the one going to Moscow, so he's after the one going to Washington, D.C. Fine, whatever. So eventually, the infiltration group that's still in the building have to go and stop the pulse cannon before it friggin' blows up the main Joe sub. First of all, Snake Eyes beats them there because they're trying. I forget what the other two were doing. Oh, the other two. The other two are in the communications area, helping Ripcord. So Snake Eyes is the one in charge of going to the super weapon, where he kills everyone there and has to fight Storm Shadow. So it's a pretty cool fight. I mean, Storm Shadow gets eventually kicked off into off a ledge, the walkway they're on, and thrown into the super freezing water below. How he survives for the next movie? I don't know. The next movie completely retcons most of what happens in the first. So who cares? So I just saw this film like about an hour ago, and I completely forgot how the hell it even ends. But as far as the battle goes, but he eventually the machine's completely shut down for good, and then Duke is able to get the upper hand on Destro and Mindbender when Destro tries to burn him, and he uses a pulse gun that should have probably knocked Destro on his ass, as well as maybe blown the fire into his face, rather than just blow the or did it? Actually, I think it did, but it did blow the fire back into his face. He tries to shoot Mindbender, who eventually drops the trigger for the nano machines in Baroness. Baroness, by the way, being the one who ends up saving Duke. So he takes her to the port with all the escape vehicles, and him and her go into one to chase after Mindbender and Destro, who are already on their way out. That's a chase scene. Eventually, Mindbender decides to blow the ice pack and just destroy the entire base with the Dukes. But everybody escapes. So, chase scene. During this chase scene, oh God, I freaking hate this. During the chase scene, near the end of the chase scene, after we're, I mean, it's standard stuff, you know. But at the end, when they think they're safe, Mindbender ends up injecting nanomachines into Destro, which gives him his silver sheen. Puts on a freaking... Okay, this is where we're going. Okay, this is where I'm going to start a fucking rant.